The Tennis Gambling Podcast and the Sports Game Podcast Network is brought to you by Onyx Fantasy. Sign up with promo code SGPN to get a 50% deposit bonus up to $1,000. We're also brought to you by Rhythm. Start crushing college football and the NFL with Rhythm. Get your 7 and free trial today by going to sportsgame.com/RATHMM. And welcome, everybody, to the Tennis Gambling Podcast here on the Sports Game Podcast Network. It is currently Tuesday afternoon, roughly 4:20 p.m. Eastern Time on October 1st. I'm your host, always, Scott Reichel, once again going solo for this pod. It is also time to get into the final in Beijing. So pretty short episode, only one match to actually preview, as it is final time. Fun one between Sinner and Alcaraz, so looking forward to that matchup. Going to break it down in a few minutes. But we do have to do what we always do first, which is, first of all, remind everybody to like, subscribe on YouTube, and a reminder that you can still listen to the podcast audio only on Spotify or Apple. And you can still leave support by leaving a rating and a review. Plus, a reminder, check out the merch store on the SGPN website. A lot of great Tennis Game Podcast merch. We have sweatshirts, t-shirts, and mugs, all affordable and all high quality. Recommend getting yourself something. A lot of different colors as well for the shirts. So if you do want something, a lot of different options, make sure to check out the merch store. Plus, a reminder that we are doing a fundraiser here at SGPN. Hurricane Helen has been devastating the people of Western North Carolina, and SGPN is teaming up with a local charity, the mountainprojects.org. So mountainprojects.org to help give back. Biggest donation will get a guest spot on the college football pick show and a ton of gear. Go to mountainprojects.org and hit flood support. Help out today. Thank you once and again. Point is, also a reminder, we do have some other DGen pregame shows. We do have the College Experience on Saturday at around 11 a.m. Eastern live stream on YouTube. The NFL, the Propcast kicks off at 11 a.m. on Sunday, followed by SGP at noon Eastern. So once again, a lot of great live streams for the pregame action to get your last-second bets in, your DGen parlays, and more. Anyway, time to get into the actual recap of what happened for the... somebody's telling me that I'm muted. I don't think I'm muted. No, it says my volume's working, so I think my volume should be fine. Point is, though, looking at the actual recap of what happened in the last episode, starting off with the recap of the Tokyo final. Overall, decent episode. Ended up splitting. Ended up losing the lock with Humbert -1 at -137. Did end up having a match point in the second set. He also had a pretty golden opportunity where he had triple break point midway through the second set to go up a set and a break, and he did not convert. So Humbert was actually up, once again, first set 7-5. Then in the 3-4 game, he had a love 40. So he had a chance to serve it out, and then he ended up not converting. Then you ended up seeing him get a match point in the tiebreak. Didn't win that either, and you saw Fees get the job done as he eventually came back and won in 3. It's a bit of a heartbreaker there. We were basically a game away if you were looking at him getting the break and holding. Didn't work out as Fees got the job done. Nice comeback from him. But the bright side, that's the only loss we had in the 2 episodes combined. So for the actual dog in that episode, had Humbert and Fees over 2.5 sets at +130. So did sacrifice the lock in order to actually get the dog there, but we got +130 as Fees came back and won the second set via breaker, and then he won the third set. So nice win there at +130. For the 2 matches in Beijing, those were pretty much exactly the way that I thought they were going to go. Alcaraz in straight sets against Medvedev at -110 was a very good price. First set was 7-5, pretty misleading. Alcaraz led by a break on multiple occasions in the set and kept choking it away. Then he finally held on to win 7-5, went up a break again to start the second set, and he kind of coasted from there. So Alcaraz got the job done in straight sets. For the dog, went back to the play that didn't work, actually, in the match against Leheshka. Took the Sinner alt over against Bu at 20.5 at +105. Got there pretty easily. Bu had a couple breakpoint chances in the first set, did not convert. Then ended up holding for, I believe, the entirety of the second set, as he ended up forcing a tiebreak, and the match ended up landing 22. We only needed 5 games from Bu in the second set, which he got for us. So overall, once again, losing the lock in the Tokyo episode, won the dog in the Tokyo episode, so a split there. Then we swept the pod on Beijing for the semis. So 3 in 1 day, very nice, can't complain. Hopefully we'll sweep here on Friday. Now, getting into the actual Tokyo final a bit more, do want to talk about the actual match itself, as Fees won his second ATP 500 title of the year. You might remember that he won in Hamburg. Both matches were kind of improbable for him to win, as the Zverev match in the Hamburg final. I want to say he ended up having to fight off like 20 plus breakpoint chances and eventually got the job done in the third set breaker. But he was really on the ropes in both matches and he came back and won. So point is, Fees has been very inconsistent this year, and we saw him struggle for the majority of the first half of the calendar season. Since then, though, he's won 2 500 titles and he has been showing a lot of overall skill. Now, we knew that he was potential top 10 upside guy as he was viewed as being the face of, I'd say, the next generation of French tennis, post Monfils, post Gasquet, etc. He's definitely as good as advertised, but the problem is consistency. But when he is engaged and when things are clicking, he is really, really good. So Fee's got the job done. Nice win there for him. As for Humbert, I believe that's the first ever ATP final that he's ever lost, and he was undefeated going to that one. I would roast him for blowing the actual match point, but to be honest, I really couldn't. Fees had a great passing shot. I didn't think Humbert played it that poorly. You could argue that the approach shot should have been a little bit better, but Fees had a very nice passing shot, and after that, it was kind of over from there. The one thing I do think Fees should have, I should say, lost the match. The moment he should have lost the match was the love 40 in the 3-4 in the second set. I care more about that from Humbert's perspective. I think Humbert should have broken at that point to set up him serving for the match. The tie break, he did have one chance, which of course you want him to get while serving it out. It was a really nice shot by Fees. It wasn't like Humbert shanked one and ended up just committing an unforced error. He went to the net, he had an opportunity, he dared Fees to pass him, and Fees did. So I can't really get too mad at Humbert. But point is, nice win there for Fees. Really impressive run when you factor in the competition. Not just the actual, I'd say, drama associated with pretty much all of these matches. But you're looking at who he's faced off against, and he was facing off against some serious killers out there. Fritz, who was the favorite in the entire tournament in the first round. Berrettini, yes, he got injured, but still ended up beating Berrettini. Beat Shelton, defending champion. Beat Rune, who's a top 10, top 15 player in the world, and beat Humbert. So once again, a phenomenal run by Fees, and round of applause. Nothing else to say. Tip of the cap. He was able to fight off some really difficult spots in multiple matches to win his second ATP 500 title. I believe his third title overall, if you include the French title that he won last year. So congrats to Fees. Nice job there. Also, first time beating Humbert in his career. He was 0-4, so nice win there. And hopefully we'll see him make another deep run over the next couple of months. Point is, though, to get into the actual recap of the matches in Beijing for the Tuesday matches. So I mentioned before, kind of went the way that I thought they were going to. Alcaraz got the job done in straight sets. He's better than Medvedev. It's a bad matchup. I know that Medvedev beat him one time in the U.S. Open. Relax. It's not that big of a deal. It happened one time. It was relatively fluky. Alcaraz has kind of owned him since that moment and before that moment, so not a shock that Alcaraz got the job done. Too many free points coming to the net, and Medvedev, we know, serving-wise, has not been as consistent as you'd like him to be. Double faulting or just overall first serve percentage. Anytime he's serving a second serve, he has the issue of handing away a free point or Alcaraz being the aggressor and immediately getting to the net. Point is, though, Alcaraz looked very comfortable for most of the match, and he ended up winning in straight sets. For the other one, Sinner did not look great again. Said before that he had to fight off a couple break points in the first set, and I thought Boo, who faced off against a couple break points, fought them all off in the second set, still hung in there, went to a tie break. Sinner's been fine in this event. He has not been amazing by any means, at least based on his usual standard. A win's a win. I get it, but I think we were all expecting Sinner to win more comfortably in a bunch of these matches. Bolaheshka had a couple set points. Boo had a couple break points in the first set to go up a break. Saw him drop a set in the first two rounds. Not exactly the most impressive tournament by Sinner, but you can argue that it's a good sign of growth because he has been able to survive despite not playing his best tennis. Now, in this match, he's going to have to play his best tennis because Alcaraz is Alcaraz, and he's been phenomenal. But I'm at least pointing it out, even though Sinner has not looked that dominant in these matches, it is a good sign of, I'd say, growth for his overall game, that he can manufacture wins despite not playing that sharp for, I should say, a set and change. He's had a couple of moments where he's turned it on, most of that tie break against Boo on a Tuesday, where he can flip a switch and he can get back into that groove. But the fact that he's actually winning without being in that groove for the entirety of this these matches, I think actually is going to help Sinner's confidence moving forward because he's proven that he can beat guys, talented players on tour, despite not having his best efforts from, I should say, the start of the match. So that being the case, I think Sinner is once again not looking that great in the event, but good enough. And now we're here for the expected final that we all thought we were going to get going in, which is Alcaraz against Sinner. Those were the two outrights that we had. Did have Shang for a long shot, didn't work out, but our main two picks were Alcaraz and Sinner, and now we automatically win. So hopefully we end up getting the longer price to win. But either way, point is, nothing else really recap. Both those guys won in straight sets. The main match, the main attraction was the Fils and Humbert war that resulted in a title for Fils. So once again, congrats to him, and hopefully you cashed some of the plays that we won in the last episode, going 3-1 in the lock and dog picks. Anyway, now it's time to get into the actual preview of the final in Beijing between Alcaraz and Sinner. But for that, I want to remember once again that we're brought to you by Underdog Fantasy because they have a great pick'em overall competition, or I should say they give you the pick'em options to create your own entries, and they have a bunch of menus, one of the biggest menus in all sports. You can join together NFL options, college football, MLB, right for the playoffs. You have MMA, WNBA, NASCAR, even WNBA, tennis as well. Lobbies jam-packed with profit boosts. A reminder, you can use specials and boosts on all your flex entries. I'll probably do something. Know that I liked Levis interception for the Monday game. That got there as he threw a pick and immediately got injured after that. So nice win there for the underdog entry. For this one, think I will go to... What do I want to go with for this one? For this one, I think I'll actually go to the... what do I want to go with here? I'll go to the NFL for the upcoming Thursday night game. Give me Kirk Cousins' higher interception for that game against the Buccaneers. He's throwing a pick in each of the first 3 home games this season. Tampa's defense can be pretty aggressive and opportunistic. Give me Cousins to throw a pick in that game. So in other words, the Cousins higher half interception for that Thursday night game. A reminder, sign up the promo code SGPN to claim your special pick first time posted offer of the $1,000 bonus cash on fantasy promo code SGPN. Welcome back, everyone, to the Tennis Gambling Podcast. Just finished recapping what happened on Tuesday. Now it's time to get into the match for Wednesday. For this one, you have Alcaraz against Sinner. Definitely the match we all were hoping for. I don't know how many people are going to set actual alarms to watch this match, but it is starting at around 5 a.m. Eastern. If you are interested, maybe record it. You can DVR it if you still have a DVR. I know that's kind of an outdated concept, but if you can record it, maybe you can watch it when you wake up, no spoilers, and try to enjoy some good tennis. For this one, it is a rematch of the matchup last year they had in Beijing, where Sinner kicked his ass. Sinner beat Alcaraz 7-6, 6-1, and I believe that was the final last year. It was the semi, actually. So Sinner beat him in the semi. That's right, because he beat Medvedev in the final. So it's a rematch of last year's semi, where Sinner did win in straight sets. One competitive set, and you saw one lopsided one. But Alcaraz has looked like the better player in this event, which is why he is the favorite. Alcaraz are on -125. You have Sinner at +105. For the game spread, -0.5 for Alcaraz, +0.5 for Sinner. Over-unders around 23 games at -110 apiece. For the other options, you have the over 2.5 sets at +125. For the under, you have about -150. For the set spread, Alcaraz in straight sets is +200, and Sinner to win in straight sets is +250. Now, going through the path of both players, said before, Alcaraz has been a lot more convincing in his wins, as he's not dropped a set yet. Saw him beat, going in order, beat Pericard 6-4, 6-4, beat Griekspoor 6-1, 6-2, beat Kashanov 7-5, 6-2, and he ended up beating Medvedev 7-5, 6-3. As for Sinner, he was really off to a bad start early, as he dropped the first set to Jari and to Safulin in the first 2 rounds, then beat Leheshka. Should have dropped a set there, as Leheshka did have a couple of set points in the second set tiebreak. Didn't convert those, as Sinner won in straight sets. And he beat Bu in straight sets on a Tuesday, which was once again a match that he could have lost a set in, went to a breaker in the second set, but he was facing a couple break points in the first set. So maybe he could have lost the set if he lost one of those points. But the point is, Sinner has not been that dominant, but he has been winning. So the argument is, you have Sinner, who is probably the best hardcore player in the world at this stage of their respective careers, because Djokovic, I think, is a step behind Sinner at this point, especially with Sinner beating him in the Australian Open. And I know they chopped in the ATP finals last year, but we saw Sinner beat him in the Davis Cup. So I think you're looking at Sinner, who is the best hardcore player in the world right now, but his form in Beijing has left a lot to be desired, at least for a guy that we know has the makings of the next dominant hardcore player on tour. As for Alcaraz, he has been coasting, and I do have to point out that Alcaraz is currently leading the head-to-head by a decent margin, actually. Alcaraz is currently ahead 6-4 in the head-to-head, but on the hardcore, it has been pretty lopsided, as Alcaraz is up 5-2 in the head-to-head hardcourt meetings. So Alcaraz has been pretty good when they face off on hardcourt. So that being the case, I can understand why Alcaraz is favored. I think he has been the better player. I think Sinner might win a set or maybe get a marathon out of it because these two guys always result in a marathon with the exception of the Beijing match last year, coincidentally. But I think you're looking at a matchup that should be very competitive. But I think Alcaraz is right now in better form. We saw him really raise his level in the end of the Davis Cup into the Laver Cup, and that has continued on into Beijing. As for Sinner, won the U.S. Open, took some time off, and he has been a bit rusty or just a bit flat for a decent amount of these matches. But for me, I'm going to go with Alcaraz. I think that he's worthy being a favorite. I see minus 140 in a couple spots. I'll take the minus 125. I think based on the form, you kind of have to take Alcaraz, who has not dropped a set yet, beat Medvedev, who I know he has a great head-to-head history against, but Medvedev's still a top 5 guy in the world. And Alcaraz kind of dominated most of that matchup. But Sinner had a hard time against Bu, who's barely in the top 100, had a hard time against Leheshka, who I think is pretty solid. Lost set to Fulin, lost set to Jari. Jari's been a mess all year. So I think that I have to go with Alcaraz just based on the overall form of both guys. Give me Alcaraz on the money line in this one. For the actual total, I would lean to the over. It might be a marathon, but I think that there's a couple ways to get to 22.5 or 23. Maybe a breaker or two, but you could also get 3 sets, so I don't mind the over for games as well. For the set wagering, for the actual over-under, I would lean to the over 2.5 sets. I feel like Sinner will raise his level and potentially win a set against Alcaraz, but if Alcaraz wins in straight sets, I would not be that shocked. Sinner, once again, has really not looked that great. And I think Alcaraz has looked like he's in, I don't want to say peak form, but definitely better form than Sinner. So give me Alcaraz, and I will lean to the over in this one. That's going to wrap it up, though, for the actual preview of the final. Now it's time for the lock and dog picks. But I want to remember once again that we are brought to you by Rhythm, because Rhythm is SGPN's proud partner, the #1 AI-powered sports betting platform that helps provide bettors of all levels the ability to build custom models of really just any sport you want at this point, and get predictions on money line, spread totals, and props. They have WNBA, college football, the NFL, a lot of options for you. You can build your own model. You can copy one of the top performing models on the leaderboard, or press build the model for me, and Rhythm will do it for you. Gives you giving you predictions on every game with player props. They give you a bunch of stats, research, and trend analysis to give you even more betting insight. And a reminder, you can try out the platform for free for 7 days. Claim a 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgames.com/rhythm, sportsgames.com/RATHMM. We're also brought to you by BetUS. BetUS has been around for more than 30 years, and you can easily deposit with the book using crypto and get lightning fast payouts. US players are always welcome. A reminder that you can use links, our link, to sign up and get a 1 to 25% deposit bonus on 1 to 25% deposit bonus on your first 3 deposits. Go to sportsgamepodcast.com/BetUS, sportsgamepodcast.com/BetUS, promo code SGPN. Then we send you BetUS, America's favorite sportsbook. Welcome back, everyone, to the Tennis Gambling Podcast. Just finished previewing the final between Alcaraz and Sinner. Now it's time for the lock and dog picks. For the lock, I am going to go with Alcaraz money line at minus 125. Not going to reinvent the wheel here. He has been great all tournament. He was great before this in the Laver Cup and the Davis Cup as well, but he has been perfect. He's not dropped a set yet. Beating Medvedev, who made the final here last year, is impressive, at least by the margin that he did, winning in straight sets. The 7-5 was once again a little bit misleading, as Alcaraz led by a break on multiple occasions in that first set. So Alcaraz could have easily won that match like 6-3, 6-3. Point is, though, he has looked great, and I do think with the overall form comparison, Sinner's been looking a bit rough at times. Had a struggle against Bu, had a struggle against Leheshka. Basically no easy matches up to this point. And now he's against his best player by a wide margin in terms of competition. Going from the likes of Bu to Alcaraz is a lot. So I think that Alcaraz, once again, based on form, should be a bigger favorite. I think the minus 140 price in other spots is right, but I see 125, so I'll take it now before it moves. Alcaraz said before, has been quietly very good in the head-to-head against Sinner, especially on hard court, as he has won 5 of the 7 head-to-head meetings on hard court. So Alcaraz, I think, has the game to once again do enough to beat Sinner. Might not be easy, but they faced off 2 times this season in the French Open and Indian Wells, and Alcaraz won both meetings. So with that being the case, give me Alcaraz to once again win another head-to-head match against Sinner. Give me him on the money line at minus 125. For the dog, I mentioned before that I am going to lean to the over, but I'm going to go with a different play Going to go with the tiebreak play. This time going with the over half a tiebreak at plus 150. 150s on DraftKings. I saw around 125 on Bet Rivers. So you're saving 25 cents, or I should say you're getting an extra 25 cents just by shopping around. So I'll definitely do that. But Alcaraz and Sinner have been involved in a bunch of breakers in the past. 7 of the last 9 head-to-head meetings have featured at least one tie break. So based on head-to-head history and based on the overall, I'd say, lengthy sets we've seen from Sinner recently, I think you're looking at a good price here. I think 150 is solid. I think both guys can hold. We know Sinner is still a very good server, and Alcaraz, I think, can do a good enough job at holding to force a breaker as well. But you're looking at a plus 150 price when other spots at plus 125. 7 of the last 9 head-to-head meetings, though, have cashed this prop. Plus 150 is a great deal. If you think it goes 3 sets, you have an extra set to get there. But I think you're looking at a good price, so I'll go with that for the value. So once again, my picks for the Beijing final. The lock's going to be on Alcaraz money line at minus 125. For the dog, I am going to go with the over half a tiebreak at plus 150. That's going to wrap it up. You can find me on Twitter at Reichel Radio. You can a reminder back once again later today for the preview of a 1,000 event. We have Shanghai. So we're going to preview the Shanghai tournament in about an hour or two. Till then, find me on Twitter. Find me on the NBA show, WNBA show, the MLB show, etc. Till next time, good luck to all of you and all of your bets. Bye, everyone.